People, what's up? I'm back. Today's episode is going to be the Miami Heats. That's right, the Miami Heats. Woo! Yeah! That's right, that's this guy right here. Prodigy, chosen one. The king, baby! LeBron! Stop hating. Versus the Utah Jazz. LeBron James versus Karl Malone. Now, I know this might be my long awaited anticipated video, and don't worry, I will be making two videos of Michael Jordan. Don't worry, they're coming. Told you to be very patient. I like to save the best for last. We got like 3 more videos before we get to the season finale, and this is on the list. And I know a lot of people are going to say, well, you've talked about Kobe Bryant, you talked about Michael Jordan, you talked about Shaq, but you haven't talked about LeBron James. Now, this is an actual video about LeBron James, and not those other two that talked about where he's with the Lakers now. This will be touching on when LeBron James was in his prime. You know, the first time he was with Cleveland, and then he made his way to Miami after, years of losing in the playoffs and his frustration. There comes a time in every man's life when there's just 3 things in his life that he wants. Winning a championship in sports, trying to achieve being rich and famous, and number 3, get laid by the woman that he likes. And when that woman doesn't, like him back, and there comes a time in every man's life when he gets to that breaking point and he just has to move on from a certain city or state or from a certain girl. In this case, for LeBron James, he was drafted in the 2003, or we could say the 2004 NBA draft, and he was selected the number 1 pick by the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, while being in this basketball team, LeBron James had a chance to become its prodigy, its chosen one. And LeBron stood at 6'8", 260 pounds, and was a force of nature. LeBron James was like the second coming of Magic Irvin Johnson. He was bigger, he was stronger, he was faster. He could slam dunk the basketball, he could make his free throws. The guy in the beginning weren't good at hitting 3-pointers, but he could hit 3-pointers. And he could score anywhere between 25 to 30 points in 3 quarters. And he could he was a good shot blocker. I mean, despite the fact that he was a power forward or a small forward, the guy could block your shots in midair. In fact, he was so athletic for his size that we had never seen an athlete like him before. I mean, the way that LeBron would just do things on the court was imaginable. It was like taking a video game coming to life. Of course, we all know that he didn't win Rookie of the Year because someone else did, and he felt kind of, he won Rookie of the Year, but what he really wanted was the playoffs, And on this Cleveland Cavalier team, it was LeBron James. Ricky Davis was like, 10 years into his, hold on. Sorry about that, people. I don't like when these morons call when I do a video. Every time I do a video, these idiots call throughout the hours of the day. Next time, I'm just going to cuss them out on the phone so they can get the point. Now, LeBron James was playing with veteran players. I think Ricky Davis was 10 years into his basketball career because he had played on 5 NBA teams. And I'm talking about Ricky Davis. He was with the Clippers. He was with the Boston Celtics. He was with Cleveland and Orlando. He was with like 5 NBA teams in 10 years. We had, what's his name? Some Miles. I can't quite remember his damn name, but he was a prospect too on them Clippers, and then they traded him to Cleveland. I think Darius Miles. I'm not even saying the name right. I'll have to check the Wikipedia, but Darius Miles ended up on this team. Ricky Davis, Carlos Boozer, Eric Snow in the twilight of his NBA career ended up on there. There's Vajal. All these players, and then a young Darren Jones. There we go. All ended up on this roster for Cleveland. And they won basketball games in the NBA season. They beat basketball teams. They would play against teams like the 76ers. They would play against the Orlando Magics, the New York Knicks, New Orleans Hornets, or should I say the Charlotte Bobcats. They would go against all these teams. But LeBron James was frustrated because the veterans were taking up some of his spotlight, and he felt that he weren't going to never be the player with these guys on it. And we all know the politics. LeBron said, "Yeah, I want these guys out of here," and these guys was out of here, and a new Cleveland squad was created. Now, he lost the 2005 NBA season because it was either Vince Carter and those New Jersey Nets or Cleveland go to the playoffs, and Vince Carter beat LeBron James by a rebound. No figured he'll come back in 2006, which he does. First round, who do he face in the first round? I think he knocks out a Toronto team. Second round, he matches up against the Chicago Bulls. The Chicago Bulls, and takes them out in 5 games. Third round, he gets beat by Rasheed Wallace, Ben Wallace, Tyshawn Prince, Rip Hamilton, Chauncey Phillips, and Antonio Medice, Detroit Pistons. Those bad boy revisited Detroit Pistons. Next thing you know, what do we see? We see LeBron go down in 7 games. I mean not 7, but 6 games. He puts up a 50-point performance. 50 points in an NBA playoff and a game 6 to force a game 7 in the 2006 Eastern Conference semifinals. And they defeat LeBron James and the Cavaliers, and he loses. Now, we all know if LeBron could have forced a game 7, Detroit would probably still win in 7 games, regardless of LeBron putting up 50 or 56 points. He still lost game 6. And this is when LeBron James is not in his prime yet. 2007. LeBron James does it again. First round, he beats the Orlando Magics. Second round, he makes quick work of those Chicago Bulls or the New Jersey Nets this time. Third round is a rematch of the Conference semifinals from 2006. This time, it goes 7 games. And it takes LeBron James scoring not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 30-point performances to knock them off and advance to his first NBA Finals. And who's waiting for him in the NBA Finals? A Tim Duncan, a Manu Ginobili, a Tony Parker, and them San Antonio Spurs that have already won 3 NBA championships and is thirsting for a 4th title. Now, we all know that it's embarrassing to get swept 4 games in a row. I mean, to see LeBron lose game 1 in a blowout. See LeBron lose by 2 points in the second game. You come home for Cleveland and you get beat on your own floor in game 3. Then game 4, you get beat. You lose 4 games in a row. And to have Duncan just dominate LeBron James the way he did. I mean, LeBron put up an incredible performance. It just wasn't going to help him against San Antonio. And that showed right there that he made it to the finals, but you lost in the finals, and it's like, okay, you'll be back here in the future. Well, not so fast, because in 2008, what do we see? We see the Cleveland Cavaliers have the second best record. They got 52 wins. The Celtics got 54 wins. Boston Celtics has got the best record. You see there's Ray Allen, there's Paul Pierce, there's Kevin Garnett, there's Big Baby Davis, there's Kenyon Perkins, there's Rondo, and the resurrected Boston Celtics. First round, they take out they take out Orlando. Second round, we see LeBron go up against the Wade in those Miami Heats, which was a nice matchup. Third round, he loses to the Boston Celtics in 5 games. I mean, damn. I mean, LeBron, hold on, people, hold on. Here we go again. Sorry, every time I do a video, these idiots like to call. Apologize, it disrupts the video. Like I was saying, LeBron James loses in 5 games to the Boston Celtics. And for the second time, or should I say for the third time in his NBA career, he was this close to going to a finals. But then in 2009, LeBron James gets injured. They try to keep it hush hush. And he loses to the Orlando Magics in the 3rd round. He loses to a Dwight Howard and the Orlando Magics. And again, LeBron James is frustrated by the fact that he's been losing for the past 5 or 6 years, now 7 years. He's been losing in the playoffs. He wins the 1st round, he wins the 2nd round, but every time he goes to the 3rd round, he always loses. And then finally we get to 2010, where LeBron James thinks he's going to finally, once and for all, get rid of his adversaries. 1st round, makes quick work of, the Washington Wizards, because they were his nemesis for a while. 2nd round, takes out a young Toronto team. 3rd round, who does he lose to again? The Boston Celtics again. And again, he loses in 5 games. Frustrating. And when we see LeBron take off the jersey off the tunnel, you know that after 7 years in the NBA of you not able to make it to the finals, or you made it to the finals and you lost, frustration kicks in. So for almost 2 months, LeBron James doesn't want to talk to anyone because he doesn't know his certain future in Cleveland. You win the Rookie of the Year, you win 2 MVPs as an All-Star, you win an NBA MVP, but you can't seem to win the big one. You can't seem to do what everyone's asked you to do. Until one day he gets a show called The Decision, titled LeBron The Decision, and commentators say stuff like, so your final conclusion is Miami. And LeBron says, I went to sleep and woke up, and my conclusion is Miami. And you can see the look on the man's face. He was just disappointed by that answer, which I'm pretty sure LeBron, who gives a damn if you're disappointed by the answer? You ain't the one losing 7 years in a row in sports. All you do is interview people all day. So you can see the type of friction that it caused. And then to have people burn his jerseys and set it on fire was surreal. Wow, you're burning LeBron James's jerseys after 7 years of being with this team. You burn his jerseys. And then, of course, he goes to Miami, and what do we hear? Yeah, it's the Miami Big Three, baby. Yeah, the Wade, that Chris Bosh. Yeah, woo! Yeah, we gonna win NBA championships. What's up, Miami? Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7. Very controversial, right? And we see what happens when the season starts off. They don't start off very good. They lose 8 games in a row. They lose 8 in a row. And it ain't until by spring break they turn it around and they go on an 8-game winning streak. And who do they beat to go on their first 8-game winning streak? Kobe Bryant and those Los Angeles Lakers. This LeBron was in his prime. This LeBron was doing things on this basketball team that he wasn't doing on Cleveland. Here, LeBron would win basketball games. They would win the season. They would beat the New York Knicks. They would beat the Wizards. They would beat the Bulls. They would beat the Boston Celtics. And they were must-see TV all of a sudden. And then, of course, they made the playoffs in 2011. And we all know what happened. They lost in the NBA Finals to the Dallas Mavericks. Dirk Nowitzki and the Mavericks got their revenge. And LeBron lost his 2nd NBA Finals again. And you scratch your head and you go, again? You finally get on a team where you got some actual help. You got another star in Dwayne Wade. And again, you lose the NBA Finals. And then finally in 2012, LeBron finally has the best year of his whole career. You get MVP, All-Star MVP. You knock out a Toronto team in that 1st round. You destroy a Chicago Bulls team in the second round, which takes 6 games. You find yourselves in a pivotal game 7 with those Boston Celtics, and you put up a 45-point performance and dominate the team like nobody's business. I was there at the bar. I was so happy when LeBron James walked up on Rondo and said, "Guess what, bitch? Playtime's over with." And you see Rondo with that bitch look on his face like, "Fuck you, LeBron." But the thing was, he knocked him off. Whereas in Cleveland, LeBron never could get past the Boston Celtics. In Cleveland, LeBron would never go to the NBA Finals as long as they was there. In Cleveland, LeBron struggled to get out of that first round. Miami, he's knocking people out in the first round, second round, third round, and go to the finals. Now, there's going to be controversial regardless, because some going to say if it weren't for LeBron going to the Miami Heat, he would have not been able to do that. Fair enough. Now he goes to the finals and he faces a young Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and those Oklahoma City Thunder. And they win the championship in 6 games, which was a shock because they won the first game. They lost games 2 and 3. Game 4 came up, and they were on the verge of being eliminated. The series was going to end up being 4-1 until they tied it up and came back from a 2-game or 3-game deficit and won the title in great fashion. They came back and LeBron won his first championship. Dwayne Wade had 2 championships, and that showed right there that LeBron was in his prime. But it wasn't until the 2013 NBA playoffs that we got a true testament that LeBron was in his prime. Now, this was against the San Antonio Spurs because they had now at this point had won 4 championships, and they were going to try to make the drive for 5. That rhymes, the drive for 5. And ultimately, we all know the story, don't we? Miami won the first game. San Antonio ties it up. Miami lose game 3. Oh my God, San Antonio's going to do the impossible. All of a sudden, Miami win games 4. San Antonio takes 5. Miami takes 6. Oh my God, we got 7 games. And Ray Allen's shot in game 6 saves LeBron James's career. And LeBron goes on to win back-to-back championship titles. Now, why did this Miami Heat won 2 championships in 4 years when it should have been 3 championships in 4 years? Because when we get to the 2014 NBA Finals, we get an NBA Finals rematch. And they lose in 5 games. LeBron James' performance was incredible, but Dwayne Wade's injured. Chris Bosh is hurt. Marius Chambers ain't playing 100%. Hugh Haslam is past his prime at this point. He's old. And Marius Chambers is just there. And then, Darian Jones try to, participate. And we just see LeBron playing by himself. The system finally broke down in Miami. You got stars like, Jay-Z and Lil Wayne coming to the games, Rick Ross. You got all these rap artists coming to the games to watch the Heats play. And to see him lose in the finals like that, and then the want to go back to Cleveland, which was a big shock to everyone. And to me, I felt that he should have stayed in Miami and gave it one more go, and then decided to go to a team out west, like maybe the Lakers or maybe someone else. But she chose to go back to Cleveland, which shocked the hell out of a lot of people. You won 2 championships. You go to the finals 3 times, but you win 2 championships, and then we all know what happens in 2015. Golden State put a hurting on that ass. And, LeBron again losing the finals. And people always like to point out, well, LeBron James lost more NBA finals than he actually won. And then we all know 2016, LeBron James and Kyrie Irving and those Cleveland Cavaliers come back on that ass on Golden State. And LeBron has 3 championships, but has gone to the finals 5 or 6 times now. And I ain't going to tell you what happened in 2007 because I already told you in another video. Now, there's another player at the same position who also has a similar situation. And that is the mailman Karl Malone, one of the greatest professional basketball players to play the power forward, small forward positions in his NBA career, played 15 years of professional basketball. He comes in the 1987, either 1986 or 1987 NBA draft and gets picked by the Utah Jazz. Now they pair him up with John Stockton and they become a 1-2 punch combination. They were an offensive threat to the San Antonio Spurs, the Houston Rockets, the Dallas Mavericks, the Portland Trailblazers, but the one team that they were a threat to, the Los Angeles Lakers. Look it up. They won basketball games. They were beating top contender teams. Their matchups against the Spurs, the Mavericks, and the Rockets are the stuff of legends. Beating Sacramento Kings and the Phoenix Suns in overtime games, the stuff of legends. But by the time we got to the 1990s, Karl Malone had the same situation. He could not get out of the third round when going up against a San Antonio Spurs. You know, he put up 40 points. John Stockton put up 40 points. It was something that they had never seen before, but it wasn't enough to stop San Antonio. And then finally we get to the 1995-1996 NBA season where they were this close to going to the finals, but they couldn't stop the Houston Rockets. They couldn't stop the Seattle Supersonics. You know, the Seattle Supersonics bested them in the second round. And then finally in 97, Karl Malone finally does the unthinkable. He finally gets to an NBA Finals. And who does he have to face in a 6-game series? Michael Jordan and those Chicago Bulls. And even though Michael Jordan had the pizza virus in that series, Karl Malone put up some incredible numbers. Karl Malone got him 20 rebounds, 20 blocks, made 60% of his free throws, even made a three-pointer here or there. But in the end, he lost his first NBA Finals to Chicago and a Michael Jordan. He repeats in 1998, comes back to the NBA Finals, and a pinnacle Game 6, and he loses 2 years in a row to Michael Jordan. That's got to hurt, no matter how great of a player. And you got to remember, that same year, Karl Malone had won the MVP. Now, how does it feel to be MVP, but you lose to Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls 2 years in a row? You get an NBA Finals rematch, and you lose to Michael Jordan for the second year in a row. That's like getting rejected by one of the most beautiful, attractive women in the world. 2 years in a row you get rejected and you don't get the ass. That's what that felt like for Karl Malone. As if that was it for his career. By the time we approached the year 2000, Karl Malone was contemplating retiring from the NBA or being traded. And surprise, surprise, he would play for another 3 more years. And then finally in 2003, there were talks of him now deciding to leave. And surprise, he ended up on the Los Angeles Lakers, where he had a third opportunity to go to the NBA Finals. And we saw what happened in 2004 when those Detroit Pistons killed the Lakers in 5 games. That Karl Malone got injured for most of the season. He gets a third opportunity, and again, he loses in the NBA Finals. And a lot of people theorize, had Karl Malone been healthy, had he been strong with those Lakers, it would have been enough to force a Game 6 and force a Game 7 and, I don't know, maybe force the game into overtime. But like I said, they theorize the idea that if he was never injured in that series, them Detroit Pistons probably would have not won the championship in 2004. Now you see how this turned out for Karl Malone. He lost 3 finals flat out. Now, the reason why I bring this up is because he was going to try to play in the 2005 NBA season, but he realized I'm getting up there in age. My body's breaking down. It ain't happening. Now, we get to who's the better basketball player, LeBron James or Karl Malone. Now, if you look at Karl Malone's numbers production, they're slightly a little a little closer to LeBron James. But because LeBron has won and has lost finals and won finals, LeBron has the complete experience. Karl Malone, if you just take the championships and the finals appearances away, Karl Malone's the more better basketball player, experienced wise. But if you throw in the finals and the championships with LeBron, then by a slight margin, by a slight hair, LeBron James is a better basketball player than Karl Malone. Now, I apologize. This is a long video. Sorry for the long-awaited video. And sorry for the phone going off in the middle of the video presentation. The next video, people, it's going to be Michael Jordan versus Vince Carter. So I hope you enjoy that video. Peace.